Andrew, you've touched very briefly on News24 Wire and News24's investment into original journalism. Now, Tom Eaton shared a very interesting train of thought on his Facebook page, and many people responded to it positively. So let's talk about this. He's saying, yes, it's a good decision to close comments on News24 stories, but he's saying that there's probably a bit too much backpatting, he calls it, going on, because if he keeps a checklist of the types of stories News24 publishes, he believes that it's not just the comments, it's the type of content that News24 sometimes focuses on, or in Tom's opinion, constantly focuses on, that is really contributing to this type of negative, I suppose, feeling in the country.
Yeah, I mean, I think he called it like an agenda of pessimism, I think.
Right.
And I've read his remarks, and I think that in some respects they're perfectly valid. I mean, I think it's also partly covering a sort of hard news, breaking news agenda. I mean, does kind of lend yourself towards a bias of the dramatic and and the violence and the crime and the crashes. So I think that's absolutely right. But I think anybody who knows the conversation that we have constantly in our newsroom, which is still very new. The idea of like telling the South African story in a comprehensive, well-rounded way is at the center of every daily news meeting. But again, it's early days. Our editorial agenda and our editorial sort of capabilities are evolving by the day. And I think, while his criticism is valid in some respects, I think it's somewhat overstated. I mean, I think there's plenty of examples of coverage that we've done that has actually really gone, outside of the bounds of traditional news reporting. That's really kind of ventured into the space of like trying to tell stories of hope and legitimate stories of hope and of interest to a wide South African audience. So I agree somewhat with the sentiment. I kind of plea for time and as we evolve our coverage, and I'm convinced that 3 months down the line, people will find it very difficult to make that criticism with any kind of validity anymore.